Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide. Today we're taking a look at a fairly different product, and it's one of those that you might have already seen, like as a Facebook ad. You scroll and then comes a Facebook ad. Usually it's garbage, but this one seemed interesting enough to actually just pull the trigger and try it out because there were positive testimonials and it looked like a genuine product. And the product in question is ScanMarker Air. It's a wireless digital highlighter that scans printed text instantly to your computer, smartphone, or tablet. Alrighty then. So this was interesting enough, and the demos that I seen, or the commercial at least, it looked interesting enough to try it out, because if it does work, it's definitely a useful product. So let's start checking it out. Here is the ScanMarker Air wireless digital highlighter. I bought the white version, so it's going to be a white one. Basically, the whole point of this is, as I mentioned, it's a device that scans printed text instantly to your computer, smartphone, or a tablet. Plus, it has a few, kind of different functionalities as well. So let's open it up and see what we get, and then test it out. You get the ScanMarker device, user manual, warranty, and some other information. And one note is that in the warranty itself and in the user manual, it will say that you will need to use activation code to activate the software. This is no longer valid. So if you get a package that does not have a activation code printed in, that's not an error. It just means that they are no longer using that system, so you don't have to do anything like that. You just simply register account, install the software, and that's it. So you get everything you need here. ScanMarker pouch, a lengthy USB micro USB cable because it's using a micro USB standard, and a USB Bluetooth dongle. So it's a fairly comprehensive package. You get the device, USB cable, pouch, USB Bluetooth should you need it, and supporting documentation. All right, let's focus on the device itself and see how does it work. And here is the actual device itself. So it says ScanMarker Air. You have a Bluetooth LED and a power LED on the front. On the back, nothing really, nothing on the sides, and only on the bottom you will have the micro USB for charging. When you plug it in, they recommend that you plug in the device to charge initially for at least 3 hours. The power LED will blink while it's charging. It will blink green, and once it's fully charged, it will shine solid green LED when it's fully charged. Bluetooth blinks blue when it's hooking up, and it's a solid light when it is when it has an established connection. One thing to kind of note is this here is a protective cover, and if you try to just kind of use force to pull it, don't do that. That's not how you take off the cover. Instead, follow this little curve that you see here and simply use that curve to actually indicate that you take it off by pressing here and gently pressing in the direction of the curve, right? So not like this, not like that, not like this, just simply like that, and then it comes off rather easily. And then it exposes the actual scanner and the guide part of the tool. In reality, this transparent guide thing here is also a guide. It doubles as a switch because when you press on it, it will make a click. You will see it once I start using it. And underneath it, we have a light and a scanner as well. So basically, this is a handheld scanner with some good software functionality and some other things as well. It's an all plastic build. It's really, really light, but it's ergonomically quite okay. While I do find it that I might be able to use it like this, in reality, I always use it holding my finger on the flat surface here and supporting underneath here. And this kind of indentation or the change in height is rather nice because you can also use it like this. So ergonomics of it are quite nice, though I would have liked more rounding out of the edges towards here. So the stronger edges at the bottom here, at the top part, let's say, is okay because it provides for a good hold. However, these sharp edges are not that comfortable here towards the end where they need to come into the hand. So it would have been nicer to have seen more of a cylindrical shape here that simply evolves into this this shape that we have. But it's nothing really catastrophic, so it just works. In reality, I actually use it mostly like this. So I hold with one finger here, one finger there, and then these edges are not a problem, and then I just simply scan. So that's basically the build quality of it. It's nothing really spectacular, but there's nothing really wrong with it. It could be better manufacturing process because, for example, you can see these edges and the plastic alignments are not exactly perfect, you know, so there are some small imperfections here, and this is not like a super uber duper cheap device. So for the price, I would have expected a little bit better build quality, but we'll see how does it fare with the test of time. But it's adequate, so I would characterize the build quality as adequate, but not something that gives me a tremendous amount of confidence. The device itself, it can't do anything on its own. You have to install the corresponding ScanMarker app. So once you download and install it, the link is provided in the description down below. You fire it up, and the very first thing it's gonna ask you is to make sure that you hook up your ScanMarker Air. Well, in order to use the scanner, you first take off the protective cover. And as I said, this thing functions as a button. The way you activate it is you gently press at an angle, not like this, but usually you use it at your normal resting angle, which is between 45 and 60 degrees, right? Something like this. So all you need to do is you press and hold for 3 seconds, and now it is blinking and it is trying to connect to my computer. One of the things that I've noticed is that you can't really use the computer's built-in Bluetooth. So it looks like we have to use this one. So I'll just plug it in. And as soon as I did, and the PC recognized it, we are now connected, and the app itself says start scanning, right? So that's basically it. It's a little bit disappointing that you can't use a built-in Bluetooth on a laptop, for example. Maybe there's a way to do it or not, but at the moment I'm not sure. The USB Bluetooth dongle is not really a big deal, but you know, carrying as few things as possible and fewer additional things to kind of forget, the better it would have been. Also, in addition, it would have been nice to have seen like a place where you can actually just snap that Bluetooth dongle into the device itself when you're transporting it somewhere so that you don't forget it. So that's something that definitely is missing, and it would have been a welcome thing to see. On to the usage of this one. So first of all, you get your app, and this is how it looks like. You can't really do much with it. You can minimize it, and then when it's minimized you can move it around. I can't really open it up like that. The thing that's a little bit strange is that it's not like a full-on app, it's more like a widget. So it's always going to be like this, which is maybe a little bit annoying for some people, but for me it was first, I felt a little bit like, I don't like this, but I grew to basically used to it very quickly, and since I already use a side toolbar, then it kind of, fit perfectly. The width and everything just seemed to fit perfectly, and then it just makes sense. So in my particular case, this worked out fine, but that might not be the case for everyone. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. And the way you move the widget is by grab a hold of this little striped area and then press and hold and move it up and down. The little arrows here is minimize or expand. And then you have the ScanMarker logo, and then you have the options that are currently selected. So currently the scanner is in the mode to scan text. It's scanning language is English, and then you have a button for scanning tips, which will get you to their website. You have the settings and the question mark or the help logo, and then you have this little area here, which is your scanning workboard. Basically, this is where your scanned stuff is going to appear. If you are in the ScanMarker app mode, if you are in the external app mode, then it actually functions a little bit differently. The settings themselves, they include scan type, which can be text. You can scan small images. What's the point of that? Well, you can scan a signature to insert into a document. Mainly, that is the use case scenario for that. So quite actually handy. Then you have the option of scanning numbers, and that can be used if you're scanning numbers only. But if you're going to be scanning combination of numbers and letters, then you should use text. And then finally, it also has the barcode scanner mode, but I don't have any options to actually genuinely test this, so I won't be able to show how that works. Then we have the language, and of course it has a lot more languages than this. It has these languages, so you can press pause and then you can see if the language you are interested in is covered here or not. This book is in English, so I'm gonna scan it in English. And then we also have the option to automatically translate. That's if you want to do translation, then you can choose into which language you want it to translate it to. And you also have the option of using, so you can click here to translate or turn off. You have the checkbox, right? So you can do that. And it will automatically tell you translate text English to Serbian, for example. And then you also have the option to read aloud on or off. So for now, let's do just basic stuff, and then we will start adding options. And of course, how do you close the app? Because it doesn't have a close icon. You go to the settings and then you go close ScanMarker. Okay, so that's the options that we have. Now let's see how does it actually function. So I'm just going to open up a random page that has some text here. So here we go. And I'm going to find a nice area here. So let's start scanning. And the scanning is performed by you first press, and you need to press well ahead of the intended word, the first letter of the first word. So yeah, for example, if I wanted to scan this heading here, I would need to start scanning from here, not right from here. So that's something to kind of keep in mind to get the accuracy as good as you can be. The same is true for where do you finish. You finish far, far after the actual letter, right? So that's basically, I just clicked and the app will say click. Also, that click has an additional functionality, which I'll kind of show you a little bit. So let's scan, and the idea is to keep the text that you're scanning in the middle between these two prongs. When you scan, actually you need to glide and move very quickly. It's not a slow scanner. The faster you go, more accurate it actually gets to be. And that's something that the app continually tells you. So you have an exercise mode and practice mode. So this is something that you actually have to get in, into the groove with. Also, the instructions say that you shouldn't scan like this, that you should scan under an angle like this. But I, for the life of me, find it really difficult to do that. So I can try and see what kind of results I have. So if I go like this, then scan, Pathfinder leads the way. Okay, so that worked perfectly. And but I found that it actually works really good even if I just go like this, then scan and let go. Out of line. Okay, so let's try again. Pathfinder leads the way. Okay. All right. So let's try and use the recommended way that they say, like under this kind of an angle. And I'm gonna try and scan, these 3-4 lines, or how many are there. So let's see. All right. So let's see, what did we scan here? And when I'm in the app, can I? Well, this is kind of strange. You don't have any kind of real navigation other than these buttons here. And then you go back, back, back. So let's see, Pathfinder leads the way. That was correct. Pathfinder with a 3-year development schedule and a budget, that was correct, of just $150 million was part of NASA's new discovery program. Second line was correct as well. Okay, so I definitely kind of did something wrong with the third line because it's just gibberish. And then you have mission with limited goals. All right, so obviously it's something that you will have to kind of practice. So I'm gonna now try and go to the end here. I'm gonna try and use the other way that I was doing it, which is not what they recommend, but for me personally, it worked a little bit more kind of better. Let's see here, what did I get as a result? And this time, when I was doing it what it suited my hand a little bit better, I got the correct results all the way. So Pathfinder with a 3-year development schedule and a budget of just $150 million was part of NASA's discovery program, which we have a one we, so I probably was too close. I should have started earlier. Was intended to spawn smaller, less expensive, robotic missions with limited goals. So definitely it's something that you will have to kind of practice and get used to it and find which posture yields best and the angle, which posture works best for you. But generally speaking, this definitely works, and it works really, really cool. So now the next feature that the program has is, and now in the settings, I'm going to tell it to read out loud, right? And we're in the text mode. So let's see what we get here. So maybe this one.
The team behind the Pathfinder mission was uncharacteristically young and lean. They worked fast, tested only what absolutely needed testing, and eschewed paperwork. With a 3-year Meline, Vikings had been over a decade long, there was little time for record keeping and paper trails. As one lead engineer put it, there was no time for memos. We flew largely under the radar. Esprit de corps was incredibly high.
This is really, really cool. Like, this is properly awesome. So, yeah, I just went and scanned out the entire little section here. So let's go and see how does it handle white on black, for example. It was an empty scan. Okay, so he is having some difficulties with this. There we go.
Pathfinder.
So under the angle it was better. What about this? No, he wasn't happy with that. So again, it depends on the surface, on the colors, on everything. You will definitely have to learn how to use this tool for different circumstances. So let's try here.
Juru.
Juru. Okay, not the Juru. Empty scan. So it's definitely having some issues with this really, really thin white font on a black surface. So let's try and see something like this. Maybe here.
Rob Manning joined JPL after graduating Caltech in 1981 with a degree in electrical engineering. After a decade of working on TH Galileo Jupiter probe and Cassini's mission to Saturn, Manning was recruited to work on a new, smaller mission. At first, he had his
Okay, so the TH, it was just me not going all the way to the end, and it just said the instead of the, it said the TH. So this definitely works. So the next thing that we can test out is the translation option. So we can actually translate to read aloud, and if you're using read aloud, it has to be a supported language. In this case, Serbian is not supported, so let's go to German. So now,
auf eine neue, kleinere Mission. Zuerst hatte seine.
All right, so now we can go like this.
An Sol 3 machte sich Sojourner auf den Weg zu seiner ersten Fahrt. Der Rover steuerte zu einem nahegelegenen Felsziel, dem das Team einen Namen gegeben hatte. Skurril, Barnacleville. Das Team von Wissenschaftlern auf der Mission durften sich eigene Namen für die Objekte einfallen lassen. Sie begegneten also alles von Zeichentrickfiguren bis hin zu originelle alberne Gebräue wurden beschworen.
Right, so from what I could understand, that all were more or less worked really, really good. Now this functionality is starting to become incredibly impressive because I'm able to, in real time, scan from a book, and the platform itself not only just translates and recognizes this into a text, but also translates it into a different language and then reads it out loud on that selected different language. Now, if you're using a different kind of language that's unsupported with the read out loud, it will still do the translation, and you will see the translation. You will just not hear it out loud for the reading part. So that is really, really cool. So let's test out slightly different things, like how does it handle different languages, and for example, Norwegian. Let's hear there. So maybe I'm gonna get a little bit of Norwegian stuff and translated that back to English. So let's try that. So I want to translate to English.
Original silly concoctions were invoked.
From let's see, where is N? Norwegian. There we go. So now we're gonna try and scan this one here. Now, when you're scanning, you should of course keep it as flat as possible because any kind of weaving will make it more difficult to track just one line. But let's try and see. I think I missed.
A board that constantly experiences match or interest voting will often work heavily during the meetings and should perhaps look at their form of work and composition.
That worked for sure. All right, that's pretty cool. No, it's definitely not liking white on dark. Yeah, it's not.
The board's Sirhol Tetravisor.
Yeah, it is having difficulties with the reversed kind of a thing. I just saw this is what I've been trying to scan, and it's having difficulties. Osto slash. But as soon as I start doing it like this.
It is the task of the board and especially the chairman of the board to ensure that good is established.
All right, so that is the functionality, and that's how ScanMarker Air works in the app itself, just that basic functionality. But the really, really powerful part is that you can use this into literally any text app that receives text input. And for that, all you need to do is switch in the main app and go into this mode for the external app, and then you make the settings the same way that you would normally. So I'll just keep my same settings here, and let's say I wanted to translate this and put it into a Google document. Once I'm in Google Drive and I open up a Google document, all I need to do is keep focus so that the computer is focused on the program where you want this to be pasted. So I have my settings of my app. Let's see, where is it? No, it's there. Okay, it's just kind of minimized in a way that was kind of weird. All right, so when it's totally minimized, it disappears. That's a little weird, but all right. So here I am in this mode, and I'm gonna scan from Norwegian through English, and I'm gonna keep read out loud, and what we should get is what I scan, the text should appear in the Google text document, and we should hear the program reading it out loud. So let's try something else. Let's go random. This is a very boring book, I know, but let's find there, maybe like this. Okay, so let's try from here.
Today, there are many different programs on the market to ensure liquidity. Close follow-up. A not unknown problem is that such systems are often closely integrated in other applications, such as the company's financial system. Often, basis can result in dramatic consequences for the company.
All right, so that definitely functions. Let us now go back to the English book and see how it functions when we are simply scanning English to English. And let's now go to the app here. Settings, I'm going to be using scanning in English, and I am not going to be translating because it's going to be the same thing. And I'm going to read out loud and go into the app directly. Let's minimize this. Okay, so now, one thing I wanted to show you. You know the click thing that I mentioned? So if you just do one click, it should add, and it does, add an enter command into the app. So I can, for example, scan, let's say this.
After an excruciating examination of the evidence and a detailed look at the project's development history, it was determined that a leak had developed in the fuel system, resulting in a catastrophic mission-ending explosion. It was thought that the repurposing of an Earth orbital design and hardware was in part responsible for false economies. This mission had been predicated upon the latter loss of the spacecraft. There are cost savings, and then there are.
I think I've missed a row here when I was scanning. Let's see, after look at the project. Development history, it was determined that a leak has developed in the fuel system, resulting in a catastrophic mission-ending explosion. It was thought that the repurposing of an Earth orbital hardware, so the spacecraft, there are cost saving, and then there are false economist mission. So he scanned correctly, but the read out loud was kind of confused, unless I'm wrong, but I got that impression. But what you saw was that I, after that, clicked twice as a click, and then I added enter, which is really cool because then I can just scan here.
Was intended to do, but at less cost, about $154 million versus over $800 million ANC.
Okay, I missed the whole first section, so that was probably on me because it was too low.
The less expensive Delta II rocket was used to launch the mission. Like the Titan, it was a former ICBM nuclear missile, repurposed for less lethal purposes. However, unlike the...
Alright, so that works, and now let's try the other functionality. Let's try and translate this into Norwegian and in real time. So I'm gonna scan in English, translate in Norwegian, and have text back in Norwegian. So, or let's change it to Deutsch. German, there we go. And let's go here and let's start a new page. There we go. Let's scroll down so that we have it clear. So let's see.
Zum Start wurde die weniger teure Delta-I-Rakete verwendet. Mission. Wie die Titan war es eine ehemalige ICBM-Atomrakete. Otis XL ILO 11979 WOH 2920 QL Riedel 2291 701 B 920 Q1U 997,19 BNDS.
All right, so definitely it for the most in most cases it works extremely well. Now let's try something more exotic. I have a cookbook here, which is in Serbian. So let's try and now force it to scan from Serbian and then translate into English and speak out in English as well. And this is much smaller font and much shinier type of surface, as you can see here. So let's see, and yeah, let's see what happens here.
Crazy pudding with fruit.
That is actually, well, crazy, not really, but okay. All right, cool.
The main plant group, which is, can combine. Voce.
Okay, he doesn't understand some of the things. All right, let's try and test this one here.
Sweet confection. From puff pastry.
Actually quite good.
Milk and strawberry cocktail.
Nice, it actually deals with grammar as well. That's kind of cool.
Subgroup of fruit. Coince. Combined with the main herb. Group.
Almost great, almost great. He just had one mistake here. Let's try these super small text here.
Avanzatulanil dimuminal. And packing suviatil. Walakian walnuts.
No, not exactly. Not exactly what it says here. So when it's really thin, it has issues with small and thin fonts.
Dye puddings. Water on your own one.
There you go. But as soon as I moved the option, how I hold my ScanMarker Air, then it was much easier. So let's try and check it out maybe here.
G oranges or dietary. Pot. 100 grams of mandarin or dietary. Mandarin compote. 100. Or dietary compote. Of grapefruit. 50 grams of walnuts or cowardly.
Yeah, mix and match. So definitely has some issues with the smaller type of font. Maybe it just takes practice to find the right angle for these kinds of things. But yeah, well, in general, when it's not super challenging, then it was pretty much all okay. Because I can even try with special characters, it's able to understand that perfectly fine.
Oat flakes chorba. With mushrooms.
It actually understood the S, which is almost a typo or basically a deep slang for with, but it was able to understand that. Yeah, they're just using this. S yaima. Okay, so let's try here.
1. With potatoes.
One with potatoes.
Vegetable soup. With potatoes.
There you go. Now you got it. Cool. All right, I'm seriously impressed by how this is all functioning. So let's test it now in on a mobile device. And before I do that, I'm gonna turn it off. And you turn it off by pressing 3 times, I think. So in rapid succession. So 1, 2, 3. Was that? There we go. And then it turns off. Okay, and that's that. So let's fire up the Android, my phone, and see how that works. All right, and here's my phone, and the ScanMarker Air app is loaded in. The ScanMarker is disconnected, as it says down here. And now if I just press and hold for 3 seconds, it should power up, and it is hooked up and connected to this one. So it managed to figure out who to connect to. Even though my laptop is still on, it still figured it out and connected to the right thing. So in the app itself, you have battery notification of the device itself. We got our settings. You can set it to be left-handed, right-handed. You can do the same thing on the desktop app as well. Input language, same languages as you had there. However, the interface is a little bit different. So we have connect to ScanMarker Cloud. By default, it's on because it's using cloud computing to do the OCR recognition and translation, but you are not limited to it. You can turn off if you want to, but there's a warning that it's going to be significantly slower. So we'll test that out and see how significant is significantly slower. And then you have speech speed, again, same thing that you can use on the other one in the desktop app. And when we go back here, we also have the option of practicing, replace scanner, blah, blah, blah. So let's add a new document by pressing the plus. Let's rename it. This is video test. Okay, so that's my new document. He's ready to scan. I'm good. I've set it up to scan in English. So let's just scan a couple of lines here. So let's do like this. After separation on December 19th, Beagle 2 entered the atmosphere on the morning of Christmas Day. Parachutes deployed to slow the... Excellent. So it figured it all out. Let's see if the enter thing functions as well. No. Let's see. Yeah, it does. You just have to put the cursor afterwards, and then the single click does function as an enter. So that's really cool. You have the ability to lower or increase or decrease the size of the font. So let's leave it like this. Now, if I wanted to speak out loud, all I need to do is just press the icon here, the little trumpet, and then we have this. So now let's try and go here.
Repeated attempts to reach the lander failed, and the $75 million craft declared lost in February. Later images from Mars orbiters show.
All right, where did I orbit show? So let's continue.
Beagle 2, apparently in one piece, resting on the surface, it appears. The solar panels did not unfold properly, blocking its transmitter, and denying the lander the power needed to operate.
All right, so that works. And then if I want to translate, then I can press this translate icon. And I can choose, and I can choose any other language. And on the Android, we have a lot more languages here. So let's see, can it speak in Serbian, for example? Let's see that. Oh, he translated everything already. That's interesting. And what happens if I scan?
Mars Express launched on a Russian rocket in June 2003. After.
Okay, so that is correct. Yeah, cannot speak Serbian. This language is not supported to speak. But let's try the Deutsch language, so German. That I know for sure we were able to speak. And let's go like here and see.
After separation on December 19th, Beagle 2 entered the atmosphere.
No, so we're having some issues. Okay, stop.
XBC 25 meter.
Yeah. Okay, stop talking. So the translation works really good, but it translates everything. So it would be, I don't know, it would be cool if we had an option to choose if we want to translate everything, or maybe I want to scan a section in Norwegian, then I grab an English book, and then I want to convert that into Norwegian, etc., etc. So that kind of control would be good, and definitely the speaking out loud. Okay. That's how it works. And then you can share as an audio file, I would say. Maybe. Nope, just is a text file. You can share this as a text file. All right, so the translation works different on the mobile app, as in it will translate everything, and then when you press it to speak, then it will speak into the language. If it is supported, it will read the translated stuff there. All right, so that's how that works. Now let's turn off that translating thing. And now let's clear this out. So delete, new document. And what I want to do is go to settings and go to not use the ScanMarker cloud. Let's see. So now we're in airplane mode. We have the setting is not using the cloud. And let's see, what do we get? Well, I don't know what they're talking about super slow, but this is just working normally. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but it just works properly. So yeah, you definitely can use it absolutely normally, without any online connectivity, without any cloud processing or anything like that, which is a really, really cool thing. Because if you're learning, if you're going through these documents, maybe you're on an airplane, maybe you're in a place, maybe you just simply do not want to be online and you don't want to use cloud connectivity and cloud sharing data, and all of this actually does support it, and it makes it possible, which is really, really cool. Now, the only thing that I can't find in the mobile app is the ability to scan images, but the scanned images really are kind of super limited use for that. Literally, I think it can only work with signatures and stuff. All right, back on the PC, what I'm going to be doing now is going to show you how does it look like when you scan the image. And in this case, I'm using my Note Air with some of the scribbles or things that I have written. Now, they are rather large, so I don't know if this is going to work or not. But nope, it didn't like it. Let's try at an angle. Nope, out of line. Okay, let's see, what does it scan as an image? It's not saying that it scanned anything as an image. Oh, because I did not switch it to this mode. Okay, so now in image mode, we should be able to see it insert a scanned image. But it's definitely not happy. There we go. There was something. Something got scanned. So okay, very, very unreliable. And I'm not getting anything coming through. So if this was my signature and I wanted to scan it, it's simply not doing it. It's struggling. All right, so here is another notebook that I worked with slightly smaller text. Let's see if that helps it. No, he's just not happy. Not happy scanning in image mode. At least that's my experience currently. So let's switch it now to text mode and see, can we do OCR recognition from here onto the PC, testing the mydeepguide, okay? Testing the mydeepguide, the PANU initiation of Ilambro, good at writing. Yeah, that's not really great. Let's try under the angle, as they say. No, having trouble scanning. Let's try again. this is high test for... This is a new line for recognition. So that one worked, but this one didn't. So no, this is not something that I would recommend to use to scan handwriting. Maybe you have handwriting that's smaller, that can fit more easily into this kind of marking here. I believe that my main problem here is that the way I write is simply too large and it's not able to capture the entire surface, and therefore it's not able to recognize as good as it probably could were it this smaller. So that's something to kind of keep in mind, but definitely they're not really aiming it or advertising it to be able to do this. I was just interested, can it do it? Well, no, with the large fonts, no, definitely it's really more miss than a hit, but yeah, it might be able to do it if you have cleaner and smaller handwriting. Then it may be able to actually serve as a handheld OCR handwriting to text converter, which would be really sweet. Well, I am definitely positively surprised, because my kind of track record of buying things from the Facebook ads is I'm prepared for utter trash, because more often than not, it's absolute garbage what, kind of arrives. So I was very skeptical because the price point is higher. If it's garbage, then it's like super high. If it's like $10, then, it's not great that you lost $10, but at least it's just $10. But this is 100 and something. So then if it turns out to be garbage, then it's like, oh, that hurts. In this case, I'm happy to say that it most definitely is not. It's actually a proper product. Build quality could be a little bit better, but okay, that's fine. The functionality of it is what I really love, and when you start using it, at least for me, the old geezer, it feels like sci-fi. It's like really cool. And I understand that all of these technologies that are employed here, I've seen them before. We've seen them all before. We've seen handheld scanners. We've seen OCR technology. We've seen translating text from one language to another. And we've seen computers being able to voice text to speech kind of functionality. So all of that stuff is familiar. Nothing is brand new. But the brand new thing is that experience, and that all of it is actually joined in such a seamless way, and it functions so smoothly and so quickly. It's just so usable. So the synergy of these three technologies all in one place, and how they are delivered with the device and the app and the program platform, is really good. And that is the thing that I think makes it very usable in the real world. So what are the primary use case scenarios for this? Well, obviously for students in learning, because when you're going through a textbook and you highlight the markers and you dump, automatically that's dumped into your notes document or whatever it may be, you can then just refer back to that document. You don't have to go through the book itself. So that in itself is a really cool thing if you highlight well, But the other use is also the translation option, real-time translation. Because I don't know, if you're somewhere and you need to read a map, or in a restaurant, for example, and then you just go zzz, 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 and then you know what to eat or not eat, or where to go or not to go, etc. So a very cute little product, and a super duper usable product that's in a very portable form. I wish it was, a little bit more durable, because I don't get the durability sense of it. Maybe I'm mistaken. It just seems a little but hopefully it lasts, because it sure does work really well. I hope you liked the video. Please let me know, guys, what you think about a product like this. Is this something that you might be using? Is this something that you might find useful? Is that something that would apply to your daily scenario or something like that, or not? If you like the video, please do like and subscribe, and ding the notification bell down below to get notified when new videos come out on My Deep Guide. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!